Welcome to video number 7 of KDOT's training topic on our corridor point naming convention, where we continue our discussion about examples of the application of the naming convention. For our final example, we're going to be looking at an end condition component. And here we isolated 4 point names that we'd like to take a look at. Now, point number 1, that is the fill condition solution. And so we can see it has a both surface identifier designation because it would be both part of the finished earthwork surface called subgrade and the finished grade surface. It's a fill end condition solution, so the major feature identifier is fill. The minor indicates the slope value that it represents, so it's a 3-to-1 slope. And finally, this end condition component was set up to be a right side one, and it's really just the naming within the convention that was established. There's an identical one that was mirrored for the left side, and the names are all pre-populated there with left side values in the offset identifier field, the 6th field. Point number 2, we can see that's a ditch flow line point. And so the major feature identifier is DFL, standing for ditch flow line. That's a standard. B, again, that's our surface identifier. Here we used out for a minor geometry feature identifier, and that is because it's an outside ditch flow line point. There's actually 2 ditch flow line points in this design. We didn't include material, and we didn't include a travel lane direction. We did include something in the additional identifier, that wildcard one that has designer's discretion to use as appropriate. And in this case, we used a number 1, and this is a convention that we're starting for just good practices for designers. It indicates that it's a first priority solution in the end condition sequence. And it's also a special ditch, so that SP stands for special ditch. That's a design practice. Contractors wouldn't be as interested in that field. That's why it's in the additional identifier field, but it certainly could be helpful to other designers who are picking up this work. And then again, we have the right side offset identifier. Point number 3, that one is the daylight point. It's for a cut solution. And so it's a B for both. With the surface identifier. It's a cut solution, so we can see that's the major geometry feature. The minor geometry feature is a 3-to-1. It's a 3-to-1 solution again. No material, no cardinal direction or no travel lane direction identifier value. Here it's the second priority solution in the end condition sequence, so it's got a 2 and then a SD for standard ditch in the additional identifier field. Again, there are no standards there. It's an optional field. It's at the designer's discretion, and that's how we use it here. The 4th point, it's a ditch flow line point again. It's on the inside this time, so we can see that in the minor geometry feature identifier. I can see in the documentation here that we made a mistake. That would actually be, oh, nope, that's correct. I'm sorry, I'm looking at this incorrectly. That would be the second solution in the end condition sequence, and it's also part of the standard ditch, and it's on the right side. So that concludes our look at examples of applying the point naming convention. And, in summary, I'd like to say that with time and, some experience working with the naming convention, it will become more familiar to you, and you're going to have an easier time reading it. And, certainly, it becomes easier to identify the points and what they're representing as you become comfortable and more familiar with the naming convention. There are many additional examples of the application of this convention that are available to you. Those are in the ITL file in KDOT in our ORD workspace that is deployed. So if you download the workspace and you install it, go to the ITL file, and every component and every point that's in the templates has this naming convention applied to it. You may notice that we do not have the component shape naming convention developed yet. That will be coming a little bit later in our implementation. And that concludes our training topic on the KDOT Corridor Point Naming Convention.